Yo, what's going on, Vikings fans? Welcome on in the Vikings Now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman, and I want to talk about our GM, Kwesi Adofo-Mensah, and talk about his offseason moves as, well, he pretty much pulled off highway robbery, and that was on full display this past Monday night. So we'll talk about the Jordan Mason trade, him drafting Donovan Jackson, the additions of Javon, Hargrave, Jonathan Allen, even a guy like Jay Ward, who he drafted a couple of years ago. And then obviously you got to talk about the quarterback, J.J. McCarthy and Dallas Turner as his two premium first-round picks over the last couple of seasons. But I'm going to get this take out here quickly, because a lot of Vikings fans are hit or miss on Kwesi Adofo-Mensah, and frankly, I don't understand why. I understand he has not been the best drafting GM over the last couple of years. Everybody knows that. It's not like a hot take or a bold statement by you saying that. But at the end of the day, the job of a GM is to build a roster. Now, in my opinion, it doesn't matter how you get there, whether that's free agency, whether that's a trade market, or whether that's draft. The point is to build an elite roster and build around a young quarterback. And that's what he's done. The Vikings roster, top to bottom, is absolutely fantastic. Yes, are there some holes maybe in the secondary? But besides that, every other position group has that box checked. You fix the offensive line. You have great weapons. You have a great defensive line. You have a great linebacker core. You have a great coaching staff, which he also deserves to get credit for. So I just feel like sometimes as Vikings fans, I understand the drafting has not been fantastic, but the goal of a GM is to build a loaded roster, and he has done just that. So let me ask you guys this, because I think he is one of the better GMs in the National Football League. Is he up there with Howie Roseman? Absolutely not. But could he be in a couple of years? I think that's on the table. So I ask you guys this. Is Kwesi Adofo-Mensah one of the best GMs in the National Football League? You guys, let me know your thoughts down below. Give me a Y for yes or an N for no. So back into Kwesi here. And I want to talk about my favorite move that this sicko made this offseason. And it was the Jordan Mason trade. And I had to go back and just double check what the trade details were on this move. So the Vikings received Jordan Mason and the 187th overall pick, a fifth-round pick in this past draft. And what did the Vikings give up? They gave up the 160th pick and a 2026 sixth-round pick. Well, still for 2026, the Vikings have 11 draft picks. And the Vikings necessarily moved down 27 spots in last year's draft and gave up a sixth-round pick for Jordan Mason. That was an absolute steal. That was highway robbery by Kwesi Adofo-Mensah. I think Jordan Mason is a top 10 running back in the National Football League. And I am stunned at the San Francisco 49ers, how smart of an organization they are top to bottom, that they just let this guy out the door. Like Jordan Mason, we saw it week 1 against the Bears. He's got fantastic vision. He adds a sense of physicality to your offense where he is just leaning on guys. He's running people over. And the fact that Kwesi was able to pull that off was a fantastic move, because we talk about it. Kevin O'Connell's been fantastic being the head coach of the Minnesota Vikings. I think he is a top 3 head coach in the league. I would only take Andy Reid and Sean McVay over him. Besides that, I'm taking KOC over everyone. But the fact that he was able to add a physical football player to a culture that wasn't really too physical over the last couple of years, well, how do you change that? You go bring in physical players, and he did that with Jordan Mason. That Jordan Mason move, when it's all said and done and this whole season is wrapped up and we're talking about it, months from now, we're going to look back on that Jordan Mason trade and be like, how the hell did Kwesi pull that off? So I got to give him a ton of love for that. And also this. The J.J. McCarthy pick, fantastic. 1, in the draft, everybody knew the Vikings, they acquired that extra first-round pick from the Houston Texans. Everybody knew the Vikings were trying to trade up for a quarterback. But Kwesi sat back. He played his cards right. You only had to give up an extra fourth-round pick to move up 1 spot to draft J.J. And J.J. is going to be a dude. He is going to be the franchise quarterback of the Minnesota Vikings, and I fully believe him and Kevin O'Connell will deliver a Super Bowl trophy to this city and this organization, because all the kid does is win. And this was a ballsy pick. Like, we can't act like, because a lot of other people, and there was a lot of doubt around J.J. McCarthy. Oh, Michigan didn't ask him to do much. Can he really, be the man on a team? Can he, carry an offense? We all saw that week 1 against the Bears when it was all going poor. J.J. McCarthy turned it around, and the coolest part about all that was just his mentality was shown. And I love that this kind of viral, not clip, but this viral quote that J.J. had in the huddle when it was all going poor. Vikes down 17-6, entering the fourth quarter. And J.J. McCarthy looks to the guys in the huddle and says, where else would you rather be? The fact that he said that in that moment when he could be panicking, he was looking awful. The offense couldn't get anything going. He just threw a pick six. It's in his hometown going up against Caleb Williams. The Vikes are coming off a 14-win season. People are saying they should have kept Darnold. They should have brought in Aaron Rodgers. And this kid's got the mentality to just be like, look at his teammates and be like, guys, we're in this together. We're all, all 11 of us, we're all going through it. But we're going to get on the other side. Where else would you rather be than right here, than in this moment? And after he said that, 21 straight points, 3 straight touchdown drives. He put the team on his back. So that pick alone was a fantastic pick. And then also Dallas Turner. Everybody freaking out. Dallas Turner, why'd the Vikings give up all that draft capital for him? He was fantastic on Monday. I understand the stat sheet's not going to blow you away. You go toss on that film. DT, he was fantastic at setting the edge. He was fantastic in the run game, had 2 pressures, and he only played half the snaps. And it's going to be tough for him to get on the football field. And people view that as like a bad thing. I view that as a good thing. Dallas Turner's a tremendous talent. He would be a starting edge rusher for 95% of the teams in the NFL. But he's playing behind Andrew Van Ginkel and Jonathan Gennard, 2 all-pro caliber players. And he's just going to keep on getting better. And also the best part about those 2 guys, super young. Dallas Turner, 22. JJ, 22. Imagine what those guys are going to look like when they're 25, 26 years old. So the Jordan Mason move, drafting those 2 guys, fantastic. And then this past draft, the pick of Donovan Jackson. Holy cow, Kwesi. The Vikings have their left side of the offensive line for the future. Like Christian Darrisaw and Donovan Jackson, the connection that those 2 are going to build is going to be special. And out of all offensive guards in week 1, Donovan Jackson had the highest blocking grade out of all offensive guards. And he was actually graded the 8th best out of all this past weekend. Not just amongst rookies, not just amongst, guys making their first start in the NFL. Out of all offensive guards, Donovan Jackson had the number 1 PFF blocking grade. And Kwesi gets credit for that because we were all wondering where the Vikes were going to go with that first-round pick. Could they go with safety? Was it going to be Nick Eamon-Ward? Was it going to be a Malachi Starks? Were they even going to go corner, get a Maxwell Harrison? They doubled down on their offensive line. They said, we got to protect our young quarterback. We got to protect J.J. McCarthy. So let's go get that guy from Ohio State who's a natural guard. D-Jack, his past year with the Buckeyes, when they won a national championship, he had to bump out the left tackle, and he saved their season. This guy's just a gamer. I'm telling you, if he just hits on more of these draft picks, the Vikings will consistently, over the next 10 seasons, have one of the better rosters in the league because you're going to be able to track free agents because of Kevin O'Connell and this culture. And then if you can start hitting on these draft picks, these guys on their rookie contracts, like this team is only going to get better. And it starts with the GM. So, again, this is kind of me more, wanting to give more praise to the guy because, I think Kevin O'Connell, J.J. McCarthy, they're getting all the love. But I think the GM deserves more. This guy's been fantastic, man, in the, calling the shots for the Vikings in the front office. And then also picking up Javon, Hargrave, and Jonathan Allen in free agency. Question marks around them. Are they washed? Can they still get it done? They're coming off injuries. Can they stop the run? Those were some takes that were thrown out there. How are the Vikings going to stop the run without Harrison Phillips? Hargrave and Allen dominated that game. They had a combined 13 pressures. 13 pressures from the interior of that defensive line. That just doesn't happen, everybody. That's just not a fluky thing. They dominated that football game, and especially Javon Hargrave. 2 sacks, 2 TFLs, got home to the quarterback multiple times, just causing havoc there. So everybody concerned about the Vikes giving big money to those 2 guys. The Vikings defense is somehow better than it was last year. And it was a top 5 unit. And they're going to be better, and they're going to keep on getting better. And that's why this Sunday night football game against the Atlanta Falcons, this is going to be the Vikings telling the league, we're one of the best teams in the league. Because I think with that home crowd, with that defense, with Brian Flores, they are going to pitch a beautiful defensive game. And then offensively, I think they're going to do what they did in that fourth quarter. I think JJ's first three quarters and the offense as a whole during those first three quarters, because also you go back and watch that film, it wasn't all on JJ McCarthy. Justin Jefferson was slipping. There was just no, continuity or chemistry offensive. They really just couldn't get in a flow. But that fourth quarter, they hit the ground running. And also, you're not going to be dealing with the crowd noise offensively. It's going to be easier for that young quarterback. My score prediction's 34-16. I think this is going to be a beatdown. I could even see this game being like 34-9, for example, and then the Falcons score late. But I think this game's going to be over in the third quarter. I think the Vikings are the significantly better team. And the fact that this spread for this game is floating around 3.5, 4.5 for the Vikings, I think that's absurd. I think if this game gets played 5 weeks from now and we're going to see what this Vikings team is going to build off of, this spread's probably 6.5, 7.5, because this team is that good. I need everybody to really understand. You have an elite coaching staff. You have an elite roster. You have an elite quarterback. JJ is not just a guy that's going to be manning this team. He is the guy. He is that talented, and it's because of his mentality. He's got the tangibles. He's got the intangibles. He's got a wicked arm. He can move. The guys rally around him. And what I thought was so special about that fourth quarter is you felt the team starting to believe in their own guy. Because they're probably looking around and they're probably saying to themselves, we just won 14 games. And we let Sam Darnold walk out the door. And then JJ turns it around. He completely balls out. And I just think this team is starting to believe in their young quarterback. They're going to start to believe in themselves also that, yeah, we could go win a Super Bowl this season. And that's a dangerous feeling. When you have that kind of hope and that belief that this team is legit, it can really propel a season, everybody. So shout out to Kwesi Adofo-Mensah. I thought he has done a fantastic job, and he just doesn't get enough love. So I want to give some love to him on today's show. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Videos coming out all weekend. We'll dive into the latest injury reports once we get them, probably tomorrow on Friday. So make sure you guys are subscribed here to the channel, and we'll see you guys next time. As always, let's go Vikes.